After her arrest, Parks became an icon of the civil rights movement but suffered hardships as a result. She lost her job at a department store because she was an activist, and her husband quit his job after his boss forbade him to talk about his life. So, in 1957, Raymond and Rosa Parks left Montgomery for Hampton, Virginia, but later that year moved to Detroit to her family. She got a job as a secretary and receptionist in Kenyor's office in Detroit. She had her position until retired in 1988. In the daily work, she focused on issues like welfare, education, job discrimination, and affordable housing. She visited schools, hospitals, senior citizen facilities, and other community meetings, and kept Conyers grounded in community concerns and activism. Parks appeared in activism nationally during the mid-1960s, traveling to support the Selma to Montgomery marches, the Freedom Now Party, and the Lowndes County Freedom Organization. She knew Malcolm X, which she regarded as her personal hero. She was concerned about housing issues because in 1962, police had destroyed 10,000 structures in Detroit, displacing 43,096 people, 70% of them were African American. Parks collaborated with members of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers and the Republic of New Africa in raising awareness of police abuse during the conflict. She served on a People's Tribunal in 1967, investigating the killing of 3 young men by police during the 1967 Detroit uprising, known as the Algiers Hotel Incident. She also helped form the Virginia Park District Council, which helped to rebuild the area. The council facilitated the building of the only black-owned shopping center in the country. Parks took part in the Black Power movement, attending the Philadelphia Black Power Conference and the Black Political Convention in Gary, Indiana. She also supported and visited the Black Panther School in Oakland. In the 1970s, Parks organized for the freedom of political prisoners in the United States, particularly cases involving issues of self-defense. She helped found the Detroit chapter of the Joan Little Defense Committee and also worked in support of the Wilmington 10, the RNA 11, and Gary Tyler. Following national outcry around her case, Little succeeded in her defense that she used deadly force to resist sexual assault and was acquitted. Gary Tyler was finally released in April 2016 after 41 years in prison. In 1987, she co-founded the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute for Self-Development to serve Detroit's youth.
So Rosa Parks, she was an African-American activist whom the United States Congress called the First Lady of Civil Rights. Rosa Parks, she was born on February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama, to her father and mother called James and Leona McCauley. As a child, she attended the Industrial School for Girls in Montgomery, Alabama, later graduating from high school in 1933 at the age of 20. She got married to Raymond Parker, who was a member of the NAACP, which is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. In 1943, she began working as a secretary in the Montgomery chapter at the NAACP as her husband. one of her main jobs people didn't really know about is that she was responsible for like helping other African American women who had been victims of crimes. At this time in history, African American were not treated as equal. So when it came to areas in the country where there was like segregation basically meant that white and black African Americans were kept apart. So Rosa Parks, she's known for standing up against being unfair. So on December 1st, 1955, she refused to give up her seat for another white passenger. After the bus driver told her to go back to the back of the bus, she refused. So she got arrested and fined. So Rosa's actions led to 13 months Montgomery bus boycott to stop African Americans from being separated. So this led to the start of Montgomery Improvement Association, which was headed by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So in protests, a boycott of the buses by black African American in Montgomery began. It was probably the first example of the economic clout that the community had, because eventually the bus company had disgregate their buses or faced serious financial difficulties, as very many black people usually used the buses. And the black people started protesting, and they started like walking to their jobs. Yeah, it's like that. So Martin Luther King, he organized the Montgomery bus boycott of 1955, which began a chain reaction of similar boycotts throughout the South. So in 1956, the Supreme Court voted to end segregation.
Rosa Parks resided in Detroit until she died of natural causes at the age of 92. On October 24, 2005, in her apartment on the east side of the city. She and her husband never had children, and she outlived her only sibling. City officials in Montgomery and Detroit announced on October 27, 2005, that the front seats of the city buses will be reserved with black ribbons in honor of Parks until her funeral. One of the speakers of the funeral, United States Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, said that if it had not been for Parks, she would probably have never become the Secretary of State. In the evening, the casket was transported to Washington, D.C. and transported by a bus similar to the one in which she made her protest, to lie in honor in the of the U.S. Capitol. Parks was the 31st person, the first American who had not been a U.S. government official, and the second private person to be honored in this way. Parks was interred between her husband and mother at Detroit's Woodlawn Cemetery in the Chapel's Mausoleum. The chapel was renamed the Rosa L. Parks Freedom Chapel in her honor. At Super Bowl XL, played at Detroit's Ford Field in 2006, longtime Detroit resident Caressa Scott King and Parks were remembered and honored by a moment of silence. President Barack Obama visited the famous Rosa Parks bus at the Henry Ford Museum after an event in Dearborn, Michigan, April 18, 2012. She had a lot of streets named after her and an asteroid. On February 1st, 2013, President Barack Obama proclaimed February 3rd, 2013 as the 100th anniversary of birth of Rosa Parks. He called upon all Americans to observe the day with appropriate service, community and education programs to honor Rosa Parks' enduring legacy. On February 4, to celebrate Rosa Parks' 100th birthday, the Henry Ford Museum declared the day a National Day of Courage, with 12 hours of virtual and on-site activities featuring nationally recognized speakers, musical and dramatic interpretive performances, a panel presentation of Rosa's story, and a reading of the tale Quiet Strings. The actual bus on which Rosa Parks sat was made available for the public to borrow and sit in the seat that Rosa Parks refused to give up.